The key term here is you've been there before. You've been in that situation. And it goes for two people in particular. One is Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy said that he wouldn't draft Michael Sam because it would have been a distraction or it would be too much media attention and it's not going to go over smoothly, pretty much taking experts from what he was quoted. So, Tony Dungy, you being a minority, telling a minority that it would be a distraction because Michael Sam is a minority. He is the first gay player and right now the only openly gay player in the NFL currently right now. And you being a black coach when it was rare for black coaches to even get a job. Remember, you receiving death threats when you was in the Super Bowl run with the Colts when y'all took on the Bears. You've been in that situation. You would think somebody who gave Michael Vick a pass for his dog thing, you'll be okay and be supportive of another minority just trying to make it, regardless of media attention. You did it for Michael Vick, but you're not going to do it for Michael Sam? Come on now. Like, why are you doing that? Another one goes to James Harden. Now, James Harden said that, the Houston Rockets are pretty much Dwight Howard, James Harden are the cornerstones, and the rest are role players. Pretty much taking a shot at his ex-teammate, Chandler Parsons. Chandler Parsons was very offended by it. But James Harden, you've been there before. You was once a role player, considered a role player, right? With the Oklahoma City Thunder. You had the cornerstones was Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. And they saw kind of Serge Ibaka as a cornerstone and not you. So they traded you. And what did you do in return? You flipped that, turned it to a big contract, and now you are considered a cornerstone. So why take shots at Chandler Parsons? And last time I remember, Chandler Parsons was one of the reasons why your other cornerstone got there. Like, you've been there before, James Harden. Come on. Why take shots at Chandler Parsons? One thing, this BS podcast show, haven't been here before, is Friday. TGIF. This is the Bust Your Lip podcast show. I'm your host, Brandon Fryer, a.k.a.
The Fry Guys.
Welcome to another edition of this BS podcast show on our new day. I know we move around a lot. Like I told you, we're going to experiment, but this is our new day. We're going to try to make this official. We're going to be on Fridays, TGIF, which is Thank God It's the Fry Guy, me, Brandon Fryer. Here's your host. Got my BS contributors here. Mike Howard's in the building, and I got Denea. Denea's going to give me her Double D's report at halftime. Great show for you. He's pretty much like a Chicago sports celebrity, and it's Jarrett Payton. Yes, son of Walter Payton. I have him here. He's going to be joining me via Skype. He's going to talk about Bears. We're going to have a good show. Bears, Bulls. We're going to talk some NBA, some baseball. Got your ish. Just a great show. But before we get into any of that, you know what we got to do. We always start it off like this with our BS update. Get you caught up on the news this week. And let's start off in football. Ray Rice has been suspended for 2 games for his domestic dispute charge, and Ravens signed suspended ex-Giants safety Will Hill. They signed him, so they just got a lot of trouble going on there in the Ravens camp. More trouble happens as Vikings suspend their coach Mike Preffery 3 games. Alden Smith was sentenced for his DUI charge. He would serve as a part-time work crew member and have 12 days in jail. The Chiefs signed running back Jamal Charles to a 2-year extension. Josh Gordon is set to appeal his 1-year suspension ban on August 1st. The Chargers cut former first-round pick, linebacker, defensive end Larry English from their team. And the NFL has broken down to 2 finalists as LA and Chicago for the 2015 draft. In baseball, the Yankees acquired Chase Headley from the Padres. CeCe Sabathia will have knee surgery, and he'll be out for the remainder of the year. The Padres also trade Houston Street to the Angels in a 6-player deal. The Tigers acquire Joakim Sohara. The Mariners reacquire Kendrick Morales from the Twins. The Giants signed ex-Braves second baseman Dan Utler. And the Houston Astros failed to sign their number 1 pick, Bradley Aiken. This is the 3rd number 1 pick not to sign. So it looked like he might be re-entering the draft. And for next year, we don't see what happens with that whole case. In golf, Rory McIlroy wins his first career British Open. In college, 5-star prospect Emmanuel Mudiay signs overseas with a team in China. Speaking of that, let's stay in the basketball realm and talk about some NBA. Has there been a report that the NBA is proposing of changing the draft lottery to help balance the odds a little better for NBA teams? And they're also considering the idea of a mid-season tournament, kind of like what they do in soccer. I don't know about all that. The NBA will also introduce a league-wide championship badge on the back of NBA jerseys. There's been a report that the D-League president, he will quit after 7 years because he's considering of taking a job with Facebook. Hey, that's a good move. Also, there's been a report that Donald Sterling has already met with Steve Ballmer to discuss about the Clippers sale, and Donald Sterling ain't done there. He files another lawsuit against his wife and the NBA. Head coach and NBA legend Michael Cooper, he's the head coach of the Atlanta Dream. He's diagnosed with tongue cancer, so he take a dismiss from his team, a leave of absence from his team. The U.S. national team, their 19-man training camp squad has been announced. And it goes like this. We got Bradley Beal, DeMarcus Cousins, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, DeMar DeRozan, KD, Andre Drummond, Kenneth Faried, Paul George, James Harden, Gordon Hayward, Damian Lillard, Derrick Rose, Kevin Love, Chandler Parsons, Klay Thompson, Kyle Korver, Kyrie Irving, and Blake Griffin. But Blake Griffin announced that he would withdraw from the team, so they brought on John Wall. Then they announced the U.S. Select Team, that's the team that's going to practice against the U.S. training camp squad. And these are the names that's included on the U.S. Select Team. Jimmy Butler, Doug McDermott, Deion Waiters, Mason Plumlee, Miles Plumlee, Harrison Barnes, Trey Burke, Draymond Green, Tim Hardaway Jr., Victor Oladipo, Tobias Harris, Marcus Smart, and Corey Zeller. Also, let's get back into the NBA because there's a report that Andrew Bynum said he's considering sitting out next season. I don't think the teams are considering sitting you out next season. No teams probably want you. The Hornets decide to sign Lance Stevenson. The Heat re-signed Dwayne Wade. The Celtics signed Evan Turner. The Mavs, get this now, the Mavs signed Rashard Lewis, but then voided the contract because he had a knee injury. So then they decided to find Emil Amu and Jameer Nelson. The Wiz signed Chris Humphries. The Cavs signs Mike Miller and James Jones. And Ray Allen's even considering and leaning towards signing with the Cavs as well. Stay on that one. Then the Cavs are not done there. They made a trade with the Jazz, which they pretty much acquired John Lucas III, Eric Murphy, Malcolm Thomas. Pretty much players that have non-guaranteed contract, which frees up a move where it pushes that Kevin Love deal a little bit more. And we're going to get into that in our first quarter. I sent a question out via Twitter. It's the BS around question. And I asked the question simple as this. Klay Thompson or Andrew Wiggins? Because those are the two main pieces. Now, there's more included in the package. But let me read you some of the responses before I get into my rant or who would I take. One person tweeted me this. He said, Klay Thompson, without a doubt, he's the more established player right now in the NBA. Another person said, Klay Thompson, one of the best shooters in the league. One person said, Andrew Wiggins, he has superstar potential. Another person said, Klay Thompson, you know what you're getting from him. I'll take now over potential. Okay. Mostly, I got a lot of Klay Thompson, and it makes sense. But here's something that no one didn't factor in or no one didn't tweet me about. And it was pretty much, yeah, you could say Klay Thompson is probably the more ready NBA player right now because he played in the league. And you don't know what you're getting from Andrew Wiggins because of potential. However, one thing, once you get Klay Thompson, and you can say the Golden State deal is better if you want to contend right now because it makes sense. Flip Saunders wants to still contend. He doesn't want to rebuild. Makes sense. But you also got an owner there. You're a small market team. Are you willing to do this now? To get Klay Thompson and then pay him about 60 to 80 mil? Because that's what you're going to do because he's up for a max contract. And with Andrew Wiggins, the reason why I'm going to go with Andrew Wiggins, not just because of potential, but he has the potential to be a superstar. You don't know if Klay Thompson's going to be a superstar yet. He's a star, but you don't know yet if he's can be a star of a team or a superstar of a team yet. So, with that, Andrew Wiggins, you're getting a potential superstar, and you're getting him on the first year of his rookie deal. Now, I understand Ricky Rubio may be mad because he's like, hey, I don't want to rebuild. Flip Steiner, I don't want to rebuild. First off, who cares about Ricky Rubio? Because he needs to pretty much establish himself as one of the best NBA point guards in this league, because he needs to work on that jump shot. That's what he needs to worry about. But if I'm Flip Steiners, I'm going with Andrew Wiggins and Anthony Bennett. Maybe you could throw some other pieces in there. Even though Harrison Barnes and Klay Thomas are the better deal because of right now. But you also have to factor in that money in there. And I don't think you want to do that. Speaking, I talked about money. So here's an interesting BS fact. And BS fact is pretty much, we're going to give you an interesting stat or fact. But, a lot of money's been thrown out. And I already been talking about money. But one thing that you guys didn't know, it's a lot of people that took pay cuts. A lot of established NBA vets and somewhat superstars and Hall of Famers that took pay cuts. And I'm going to give you the top 5, starting from 5 on the way up. First one, number 5, Richard Jefferson. He was with the Utah Jazz, now he's with the Dallas Mavericks. He took a pay cut of $9.6 million. The next one, number 4, Paul Pierce, signing with the Wizards this season. He took a pay cut of $10.01 million. The next one, number 3, Danny Granger, signed with the Miami Heat. He took a pay cut of $11.94 million. Number 2, Paul Gasol, signing with the Bulls. $11.98 million pay cut. And number 1, the biggest one of all, who I feel like is going to be a Hall of Famer, no question, first ballot. Probably you can argue, say he's one of the best overseas European players of all time, NBA-wise. Number 1, Dirk Nowitzki, taking a pay cut to re-sign with the Mavs for $14.75 million. Now that's crazy. Let's get into our second quarter and talk about a name that I mentioned on there, Paul Gasol and those Chicago Bulls, and more in our second quarter. As Mike's setting up and trying to get in contact with Jarrett Payton for our Side of Fries interview, let's talk about the Bulls real quick before we get into the Bears. And with the Bulls, it's already been a report that the Bulls offered the Timberwolves to get Kevin Love. They offered him Taj Gibson, Nikola Mirotic, Doug McDermott to get him. Now, regardless if you want to say you would do that move or not, I understand the move. I feel like it's a lateral move. Yeah, you lose depth, but you're getting probably an NBA superstar on your team to pair with Derrick Rose, and you still have Paul Gasol, the guy that I just mentioned in the first quarter. You're getting him coming off your bench to be like your big man, Manu Ginobili, still kind of taking what the Spurs doing. Even though, like I said before, I think the Bulls, even though they're a deep team, they are a scorer away. I feel like a swing scorer, shooting guard, small forward. They need some type of one-on-one scorer who can create their own shot. Maybe Doug McDermott could be that one. You don't know. But I respect Gar Forman, and I give them a lot of heat. Paxson, Gar Forman, Bulls manager, I give him a lot of heat. But I respect that he went out there and just put a last-ditch effort out there to try to acquire Kevin Love. If it's reported or not, I know he told players, and he was on the radio say, like, I see Doug McDermott for the long-term future. I told Taj and okay. And there's been reports now that Nikola Mirotic, they promised they're not going to trade him. But I respect Gar Forman, the fact that he went out there to make a last-ditch effort to get Kevin Love. And the reason why I say that, I take it as it's a good block move, because you kind of block a rival in the Cleveland Cavaliers in your own division to get better, because it's pretty much a foregone conclusion to me. I feel like Kevin Love is going to go to the Cavs. And I understand that. And I feel like, you did the best you could, Gar Forman. So, hey, I'm going to give you that. Mike's giving me the signal. So, let me introduce this man. My Side of Fries interview is going to Jarrett Payton. He is the son of Hall of Famer, Chicago Bears great Walter Payton. You can hear him on Jared, Harry, and Spike show, their afternoon show from 3 to 7 on 87.7 The Game. He's also a good follow on Twitter. He's a good motivational speaker. He knows a lot about football. You can follow him on Twitter at Payton Sun. Sun is spelled S-U-N. Okay, so follow him there. And he knows a lot about the Bears. He's well connected in with the Bears, obviously with his father playing there. He is now officially joining us via Skype. Jarrett, what is going on? First thing I want to ask you right off the bat, what is your biggest concern as the Bears have now entered training camp? What is your biggest concern for the Chicago Bears?
I would have to start off and say it would be the quarterback position. It scares me. I think that Jay Cutler's going to have an unbelievable year, but we have to go back to what the past has shown us is that he has been getting hurt, and not being able to stay healthy scares me with two guys with not a lot of experience on the back end. And I just don't know either or. Is it Jordan or is it going to be Clausen? I just don't know if I have faith in both of them coming up and taking over that offense.
Jared, I got to be kind of surprised that you said the quarterback. I understand it, but I'm surprised you didn't go defense. And one of the things that worry me is that safety position. That's obviously their weakest position to me. You could argue maybe the linebacker, but the safety position is weak to me. Why not safety? You didn't even think about safety? What's up with safety?
Safety position, it does. It doesn't put you at ease, but you also have to kind of look and see what they've done. Brock Vereen is going to be a playmaker on this defense. It's going to take him a little bit of time. He doesn't have the experience because he's a rookie, but he does have the experience of being able to play multiple positions from corner to safety and understands it. So he's going to be a value. But also, too, you've already boosted up this defensive line, which we keep talking about. That's a big, big difference in what happens with those guys in the back in safety. If you can get to the quarterback, it takes a little bit more pressure off the safeties in those corners.
Okay, halftime, we're going to go out of bounds, and we're going to do that with Denea's Double D report. Now, she's not here, but she sent us her report. So let's give it to you. It's rumors and gossip and a little bit of interesting things and reports. So here it is. Now, I already told you in my BS update that Donald Sterling is, suing the NBA, and right now he's currently still the owner. So there's been a report from her report that Doc Rivers and Chris Paul are considering sitting out the season if Donald Sterling is still the owner. And Chris Paul even said that is something that me and Doc have talked about. That's all that's given right now. So that's a little interesting. Also, Cristiano Ronaldo to join Lil Wayne's sports agency. A little weird, ain't that? He got his own sports agency, kind of following Jay-Z's footsteps. And speaking of Jay-Z, Kevin Durant signed with, Rock Nation and Rock Sports Nation, all that stuff. And KD's already in a little bit of trouble because him and his fiancée, WNBA player Monica Wright, has broken up. And the reason for it is because KD did sign with Jay-Z. And the whole big deal there is that Monica Wright is very Christian, and she believes that Jay-Z is a part of the whole Illuminati things and feel like KD has changed. So that's why they broke up. KD's friend, James Harden, guess he got a new little boo because he's dating Tahari from Love and Hip Hop New York. Now, she's rumored to talk to a lot of NBA ballers. She's rumored to talk to Joe Buttons, the rapper, and J.R. Smith of the Knicks. So I guess now James Harden's the new thing she's talking to. Speaking of this whole, with celebrities and models, and let's stay in that little realm right there. Because Colin Kaepernick got him a new girlfriend, by the way. She's a fitness model, which I feel like is perfect for him since he's all into flexing and all that stuff. Her name is Brittany Rayner. Just type her name in, and you can see how good she looks or whatever. Another thing, interesting. The whole domestic dispute thing, about Ray Rice and what his thing. But Greg Hardy's another name. And the reason why I heard that all started was because his girlfriend had sex with Nelly, the rapper. So that's crazy. And speaking of rappers and athletes and tying that all in, Kanye West does not like to hear Reggie Bush's name. So he's kind of mad anytime his name get brought up. He don't like Reggie Bush's name to get mentioned. Anybody else's name, I guess he don't care about. But Reggie Bush is something that he don't like. It's been a report. He's already upset with, Kim and her brother because her brother attended Reggie Bush's wedding, and he just don't like his name getting brought up. So I guess that's interesting as well. Derek Jeter is winning, by the way. She got in a report that he has a children's book coming out in September, and now he's part owner of a men's underwear company. So Derek Jeter is winning. He's going to win outside of baseball. The Playboy man is winning. Speaking of another person's winning, Russell Westbrook has got a deal with Barney's the whole clothing company or whatever like that. They got a deal, and you got to check it out. He got some jeggings. It's like some Jordan jeggings. It's a little creepy. And then on a disturbing note, there's a woman that claimed that 2 of University of Texas players double anally raped her, and they already been dismissed from the team. So if this is true, they should get jail for life. So that is Denea's Double D report for y'all. The MLB trade deadline is coming up, so I'm going to throw some names out there, and I'm going to do a game. I did this before, supersize my fries, where I make some bold predictions. I'm just going to tell you these names. Are they going to get traded? Are they going to stay? Pretty much. Let's start off with this name, Ryan Howard. I feel like there's a possibility he could be traded, but because of maybe that contract a little bit, I think he's going to stay with the Phillies. David Price. This one's going to be tough. For some reason, I see David Price going. I feel like he's gone. The Rays are a small market team. I feel like David Price is going to be gone. John Lester. I feel like, even though he's in the last year of his deal, I feel like he's going to stay, weigh it out, probably become a free agency, maybe re-up with the Boston Red Sox. Another name, Cliff Lee. I think Cliff Lee is going to stay with the Phillies. Only reason, because of that contract. And it also goes for the same for Los Angeles Dodgers, Matt Kemp. I feel like if his contract was a little smaller, I think people would be lining up to take him. But that contract is too large, so I feel like he's going to stay with the Dodgers. And last name on here, John Danks from the Sox. I feel like he is good as gone. And I actually got the team I think he's going to go to. I think he's going to the New York Yankees. So those are my supersize my fries bold predictions for these players that's going to be traded. And we'll see. You know, the trade deadline's coming up July 31st. So we'll see if these players are going to get traded or not. Let's get into our next quarter. It's time for my favorite segment. It's called Your Issues, where you send me questions via Twitter at This BS Show, and I answer them. I'm going to have Mike actually read the questions, and I'm going to answer them. Mike, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, at Cynthia Fang said, what's your takeaways from the NFL's top 100?
First off, I want to say, Cynthia Fan, what up? Because this is your second time sending me questions, so that means you definitely listen to the show, the podcast, so I really appreciate that. But first off, they made a mistake again. You know, last year, Jimmy Graham wasn't on there. This year, Julio Jones wasn't on there. And I know he's hurt, but he still is a top 100 player in the NFL right now. And another thing, 3 running backs in the top 10, which is fair, because I think, you know, they do deserve to be on there. But the fact that they getting paid like kickers and punters, that's not fair to me. But the fact that some of these players were rated ahead over quarterbacks. And you know what? Another one, Charles Johnson. He is the best wide receiver right now. I'm not questioning that. But I don't think he's the number 2 player overall. Over Breeze and Brady, look, this NFL's a quarterback league. You crazy? And Earl Thomas, safety. He's the best safety right now. He's not in the top 10. Those are my takeaways. Those are the ones that I'm shocked about. Earl Thomas deserves to be in that top 10. Mike, what's the next one?
Okay, King's Ransom once said, what do you think of Ray Rice's 2-game suspension? Was it enough?
This was tough because you can't say how many games he should get, but I feel like Roger Gale, who's been supposed to be a tough, disciplined commissioner, I feel like he should have really came at Ray Rice and showed that domestic abuse is not tolerated here in the NFL. And there's been a lot going on with Ray Rice, and then you got Greg Hardy. It's been a lot of stuff. Even our own Brandon Marshall, even though it's been the past and he went away from it, but it's a lot of domestic violence and the domestic disputes that's going on all around the NFL. And I feel like you should have sent a message. I say suspend him for a year, the whole season. Either a year or half the season or something, or 16 games, and then maybe he could be there for the playoffs to show you how much it hurts. Or better yet, let him just play, or, you know, let him play or be suspended and he still gets paid though. Then the owner will get mad and be like, okay, all my millions is going to this player, and he's not on the field. So it hits the owner's pockets to let it be known that this is not allowed. That's what I think. You know, I feel like he should have got suspended for the whole year, because you got to really send a message out there. You know, fair or not, you got to send a message. You know, I know he probably saw other evidence of what happened, and she said played her part in it. But the part we all saw is when Ray Rice dragged her out the elevator when she was unconscious. Okay? Mike, what's the next one?
Okay, Omar0315 said, what's your favorite sports movie?
Okay, I thought about this. Me and Mike, we talked about this before the show, that this question was going to come off. And Omar, thanks, man, because you've been on here about 3 times. So I really appreciate you tuning into the show. So mine is tough. It's my favorite sports movie right now, and it's also my favorite romantic movie, and it's Love and Basketball. I feel like that's every black man's favorite romantic type of movie, but sports-wise, it's my favorite, man. It didn't really have nothing to do with sports, but you know what? And I always laugh at this part, even to this day, when I first seen it to this day, when they about to, like, I guess, you know, have sex or whatever like that, and then that Maxwell play, like, that's just, I always get weak and laugh at that part. That whole scene I laugh at. So that's my favorite sports movie and romantic movie, Love and Basketball. My BS play of the game goes to Kat Conti. She has been named the first female Big 12 official. And you will see her first game. I think it will be Kansas versus Southeast Missouri. But it's a big one for women. It's a big milestone step. Anytime something like that happens, that's really huge. And her dream is to make it to the NFL. And I hope she gets there. You're already starting to see. You see female officials in the NBA. It's time for the NFL to step up and do this thing and evolve more as a sport and really go in with the times, because society's changing, so we need to just bring it all in. And let's stay in college football, because my full of bull goes to Nick Saban. Okay, and I have to read this a little bit. I'm going to take little excerpts off what he said, but pretty much they asked him about the whole thing, the cheat and pays thing, and he spoke on it at Media Day, and he said, I don't see players being bought. I think people are so scared to death that they will possibly get caught. And first off, I highly disagree, because we know it goes on. Rashad McCants and other athletes have been saying it's been going on. And if you ask a lot of these athletes, they've been knowing it's going on. So come on, Nick Saban. Don't be acting like you don't see what's going on, okay? And it's been happening to certain programs, okay? You see Ohio State and what Urban Meyer's dealing with. So get out of here. UCLA. Come on. Don't give me all that, Nick Saban. Maybe because your university has been doing it, don't think like it ain't happening. You probably doing it yourself or maybe like that, but just because it haven't happened to your university where people get suspended and y'all been on penalties yet doesn't mean that that's happening. So, you know what I'm saying? Don't feed me BS and call it sugar grits. Don't pee on my leg and tell me that it's raining. Say that ish for the birds. I want you to go on my Tumblr page. That's thefryguyBS.tumblr.com. Go on there. We got videos. You know, you missed the ESPYs. Drake did a great job doing it. Check all his funny little skits, the funny moments of it. We also seen the NFL rookies and how they react to their Madden ratings on Madden 15. You got to check that out. We got our on-deck video of Ben Simmons. This dude is probably like 2016's #1 pick. Okay, I'm already ahead of y'all on the game. Y'all worrying about next year and the next draft. I'm worrying about 2 years. I'm already ahead of y'all. We got our photos this week. We got a parody. You know, Derek Jeter's Respect video. That's on there too. But we got the parody of them doing A-Rod. It's hilarious. You got to check that out. And the brands behind some of the biggest names in sports. See all their endorsements right behind them. It's an interesting video. Check it out on my Tumblr page, thefryguyBS.tumblr.com. Also, go on our YouTube page. Just type in This BS Show. You can catch all our shows on there, all our podcast shows every week. Also, go on our Twitter page at This BS Show. Send me your questions for, questions so I can answer it on your ish. So, and all that. BSing around too. All that. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank you guys for listening. I want to thank my guest, Jarrett Payton, for being here and joining us via Skype for this edition of the show. I want to thank my BS contributors. We got Mike Howard and Denea. I want to thank Angela Lewis, Devin Washington, Lawrence Holmes. You guys for listening. And remember, life is a game. So play hard all 4 quarters. This has been a new edition on this Friday of This BS Podcast Show. I'm your host, Brandon Fry, the Fry Guy. 2 fingers in the air. Peace. I'll see you next week. Come on, man. I like this show being on Friday. Now we get to go right out and enjoy the weekend. I'm looking forward to this weekend, man.
Bye-bye. Trip. I'm out of here anyway. Peace out.